Todd Shelnut here with CFI Pro Courses, and I am getting pretty much to the halfway mark in preparing for my renewal. And I've just been waking up a little bit earlier every morning, doing a little bit of studying, kind of spending some time studying on my lunch break, and then coming home and studying a little bit in the evening. As you know, I work a full-time schedule, so this has been a little bit more difficult for me because I still have to manage the rest of my life. My wife and I are going out tonight to see a symphony orchestra play, so I'm trying to get all this stuff in before I actually get out there and do all my real-world stuff. So I'm trying to get this stuff done tonight. I'm thinking to myself, what can I give you tonight besides just telling you what Todd's doing? Well, tonight, I want to answer a couple of questions. I've been getting just a lot of messages, a plethora, a cornucopia, if you will, of messages coming through with questions about CFI renewal and CFI reinstatement. And I want to answer some of those questions for you tonight. Now, the first question I have, and this is actually came in by 3 people, is there identifying differences between the CFI renewal and a CFI reinstatement? If you're doing the check ride that I'm doing for the CFI renewal, then there is no differences between the renewal and the reinstatement. It's the same check ride. The only difference is for a reinstatement, you only have 2 options. You can either do the CFI reinstatement check ride or you can do an additional instructor check ride. There are no other options in order for you to get your CFI certificate back. If your CFI certificate has not expired, then you have a couple of different options. In this particular case, I'm actually choosing the renewal option. So let me scroll down through here and see what the other questions that I have. This was a question came in. Am I required to fill out the flight time on my 8710 in IACRA for this application? You're not. You're not required to fill out any flight time for renewal because there's no time requirement for a renewal. So you can literally just put either your total time or you can actually just leave your time blank. Now, here is a reason why you should fill in your flight time. You should fill in your flight time because if you ever misplace your logbook or if it ever becomes destroyed or you lose it, you can use your last 8710 as a way to recreate your logbook. So having your 8710 with the information on there as complete as possible is a very good way for you to recreate your logbook. And so you're going to get a copy of your 8710. Of course, one would be an IACRA as well. And then what you would do is you would just print off that 8710. You transfer all that flight time to your brand new logbook. And then you would just affix that 8710 into your logbook. And if you ever got audited, there's your flight time. So on the very first page, I'd write all my flight time on the very first page, and I'd put a note in there, time carried forward from this, a little explanation, lost my logbook, blibbity blah. And there you go. That way, if it ever becomes a legal document, well, you will be covered if that ever happens. Here's one that was someone asked me through the email, which was, they have actually misplaced their flight instructor certificate. So they lost it, they can't find it, but they've misplaced it. And the question was, is that going to be a problem when it comes time for them to renew? And the question, or the answer to that is yes. You have to have a physical copy of something that shows that you're a CFI in hand when you do the renewal process. So because this person has lost it, it's no problem whatsoever. All they have to do is go to the Airman's Registry on the FAA's website. If you haven't created an account, you create an account, you log in, and then on that site, there'll be an option for you to get emailed to you a proof of your certificates and your medical. And that particular piece of paper that you get emailed to you is valid for 60 days. And you'll have to submit that letter to whoever's going to be the renewing official, and that would count as your CFI certificate because it's from AFS 760, and it shows all of your current credentials that you have plus the status of your medical. So you actually have to have that certificate in hand when you're doing it, or the piece of paper from AFS 760 that they'll email it to you, which is valid for How many days? 60 days. If you do a temporary authority to exercise your private or pilot privileges, it's good for 6 days. Let's scroll through here and let's see what the other questions were. Todd, I understand that you can renew up to 4 months. That is correct. You can renew up to 4 months because it's 3 months preceding the month. So it can be up to 4 months, but not over 4 months. So just make sure you do understand that. The next question that came through was if I got a FERC, I got my FERC 4 months or 3.5 months ago, can I renew it using my FERC? Yes and no. Yes and no. Let me explain that to you. When you graduate from a FERC, they give you a certificate, and I've never seen a FERC certificate without an expiration date. Now, the FERC certificates, their expiration date are usually 90 days from the date of the graduation of the course, which means that you really couldn't actually take up to 4 months because you'd have to have, that the date, the FERC would have to be current. So if you waited like to the 91st day to show that to someone to renew, your FERC certificate would not be valid anymore, and therefore you couldn't do it. So you got to be really careful about that, and you have to really look at the FERC that you're using and look at the expiration date that is depicted on there, because you may actually be outside of your limit. But you can definitely, you can't go beyond the date, but you can renew any time before the date. It's just going to change your due, your month. I don't want my month changed. I want it to always be December, but I can renew up to 4 months prior to here, or up to 3 months preceding the month prior. So just kind of be careful about the FERC expiration date. That's one of the biggest things. Let me scroll through here and see, oh, I don't have a medical. Can I renew my flight instructor certificate? Absolutely. You don't have to have a medical to exercise the privileges of a CFI. You only are required to have a medical if you're exercising privileges of pilot in command. So if you're acting pilot in command, then you actually have to have a medical, but you do not have to have a current medical to get a flight instructor certificate renewal. The next one was, can I use BasicMed? Absolutely. BasicMed can be used by flight instructors as defined under 6123. So you definitely can use that as a way to, as a medical to act as pilot in command while you're flight instructing, no problem. Well, let's see here. How long will it take to process my certificate renewal? Wow. That's really kind of a loaded question. I would say probably 45 days or more. And that's the reason, I think the reason why I like this question, the reason why I decided to talk about it is because if, let's say for instance that I waited, so I've already really kind of waited a little bit too long, I will definitely 100%, I will lose access to IACRA after the first of the year. As an instructor, let me explain. If I'm doing paper applications, I'm good to go. However, because IACRA talks to the Airman's Registry and the Airman Certification Branch, once I do my application and it gets submitted through IACRA, it's going to take about 45 days. So I won't even really get my CFI privileges back in IACRA till probably the first or second week into February. So I won't be able to use IACRA as a flight instructor because the paperwork won't be completed, and I'm going to lose IACRA. Normally I do this in like September, October, November timeframe. Plenty enough time for my IACRA to stay current, but this year I just waited to the last minute this year. And so I'll still be able to exercise privileges of a flight instructor. I'm just not going to be able to use IACRA because my CFI certificate's not going to be updated in IACRA during that time. So I will lose access to IACRA as a flight instructor. Let's see here what the other things are. Oh, this is one. It was a cool one here. It says, I I heard that I can renew based off the fact that the FAA just knows who I am. And yes, that's correct. It's called, I think it's called known association or something, but that's another one that's listed in the 8900.1. It used to be a thing. I don't think it is anymore. I think that the only way to do that is if you're in the if they know you because you're doing a specific job, but I think they have that covered in the backside of that, which is if you're a DPE and they know you, they'll renew you just because they know you. So, and sometimes it won't be off your activity or anything either, just because you're in the. But if it's really because they're renewing you because you're in the routine evaluation of pilots. So that's also in the 8900.1 as well, and the FARs. So this is some pretty good stuff. Oh, here's another good one. I have a gold seal on my current CFI certificate, but during my IACRA application, I did not see any information regarding to selecting that I had a current gold seal. And you won't. The gold seal, once applied to your CFI certificate, will just always be with your CFI certificate. You can't, nobody's going to take it away. It's not going to, yeah, it's there for life. You don't have to worry about anything with that. Someone wanted to know what a CFI renewal cost. It just depends. I have to pay for the airplane, and then the DPE is doing a professional courtesy for me and not charging me. So Merry Christmas to me. I'll probably do something for him though, because he's a pretty good guy. So maybe a gift basket or something. I don't know what to do. But don't you wish we could pay DPEs and gift baskets? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So there's just a lot of good questions that have been coming through, and I really just wanted to take some time to go through and just start asking some of these questions. And there's a couple of other ones, but I think they're not something that you'd be too interested in. It's very complex stuff. But maybe I'll take another moment throughout the week and go over some of these more complex questions. But I just wanted to take a little bit tonight. I'm going to take this evening off. I did come home, and I'm going to post this video because I wanted you to hear some of these great questions that are coming in. And I thank you for walking through this process with me. And if you'd be wishing me good luck on the 21st. That's just next Tuesday. God, I'm so nervous about my check ride. I guess I should just relax, right? Why do CFIs tell students that when they send them in the check ride? Hey, just relax. You think any students ever heard that and go, I'd be honest with you, I never thought about that. I'm like really worried about like losing like thousands of dollars on this process. But, relax. I'm so glad that you gave me that very powerful advice. Relax. Just relax. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow night with a little bit better and line up. And I don't know, I'm trying to post as much as I can within these days because I really want you to see what it takes to kind of get ready. But my job comes first, and this comes second. So I've got to give them 110%, and then whatever I've got at the end of the day, you get the rest. Thanks so much, guys and girls, for joining me today, and I'll see you probably tomorrow with another episode, also from other great questions, and my continued prep towards my CFI renewal on the 21st. Take care.